Hey everyone, how's it going? Cloud here, and welcome to my guide on the Spider's Slayer assignment.
Now, if you're watching this guide, you're here for one of two reasons. Either you're aiming for 99 Slayer and want the best method of dealing with this Slayer monster, or you're already 99 Slayer, aiming for 120 and wanting the best method to capture this monster's soul for your Slayer codex. Whatever reason you're here, this is the guide for you. Now, in this guide we'll be going through the following: the requirements to be assigned this monster as a task, which Slayer master assigns them and how many, best locations for the most effective kills, strategies and weaknesses of the monster, recommended equipment from highest to lowest, tips and tricks to obtain the soul for your codex or dungeon, social Slayer and its rewards, key drops to collect including handy items to help with this. Now, if you've already obtained 99 Slayer but haven't started the Sunken Pyramid Slayer Codex sort of activity, make sure you click the annotation in the video to view that before watching this one. You'll also find a link in the description below. Now, you can choose to watch a certain part of this guide if you wish, or you can just simply play through the whole video. If you go in the description, there's links to each individual part and the time to skip to that section.
Now, like other guides I've done, I'm going to give you two options for this guide. So I'm going to show you a low level version of the Spider assignments and a high level version of the Spider assignments, and then you can decide which one of those two you'd rather go after depending on your level and what you're particularly after. So let's start with the low level. So the low level option of the Spider Slayer assignments is the Corpse Spider. Now, for the Corpse Spider, there is no particular Slayer level or item required to be assigned as a task. However, you do need to have completed a quest, which is the Blood Pact quest. Very short quest, very easy to complete. If you do need a guide on it, I do have one available. So for the Corpse Spider, they are level 4, they have 150 life points, they have a max hit of 12, which is a ranged style attack, and their weakness is melee, predominantly against crush style weapons. And now for the high level version of the Spider Slayer assignment, I would recommend going after the Jungle Spiders. So again, no requirement in terms of Slayer level or item in order to kill them, and you don't need to complete any quests in order to have killed these ones. Now, a little bit higher than their lower level counterpart, these are level 86, they have 3,100 life points, they have a max hit of 248, and they can alternate between melee and range, but it's predominantly a range style attack. Now, despite their appearance, they are not poisonous, so you don't have to worry about being poisoned by them. And as for weakness, again, like their lower level counterpart, they are weak to melee and again, predominantly crush style weapons. Now, obviously, it's up to you which one of those two you rather go for, and that is obviously depending on your level and how much experience you're particularly after. Now, as for Slayer Masters, the only Slayer Master to assign spiders as a task is Churail.
So Churail can be found southeast of the Taverley Lodestone, and you can see the little Slayer icon on the minimap. Now, if you completed the Wild Gothic Sleeps quest, Churail will be replaced by Spira, but they both have the same effect. So there's no actual sort of Slayer level required or combat level required to be able to use Churail as a task.
And Churail can assign anything between 15 to 50 spiders per task. So, as for recommended locations, so obviously I'm going to talk about the location to find both the Corpse Spider and the Jungle Spider. Now, for the Corpse Spider, there is only one location to be able to find them, which is the Lumbridge Catacombs dungeon, which is where you did complete the Blood Pact quest, but obviously once you complete that quest, you will go into the actual dungeon part where there's various enemies, and you need to navigate your way through the catacombs until you get to the area where the Corpse Spiders are. There's quite a few of them in the area, and it's quite enclosed, so it shouldn't take you too long to reach them. Now, Jungle Spiders do have several locations that you can find them across RuneScape. The one that I particularly recommend is Hazelmere's Island, and that is mostly because it's a large amount of spiders in a close sort of proximity to each other, where all the other locations you can go to are quite scattered. So the easiest way to get to Hazelmere's Island is to teleport to Yanil Lodestone via the Lodestone network, and once you're there, if you navigate through Yanil and go out of the sort of east exit, you'll see Hazelmere's Island, and you can go across several bridges and you'll then see the green spiders. Now, the only thing to be mindful of is as you head over to the island, you'll probably only see 2 yellow dots on the minimap, and that's because of the spiders' kind of camouflage. They don't actually appear on the minimap, so you need to actually be looking at the screen for them to spot, but they're pretty big and they're pretty vibrant green, so you won't exactly miss them. Now in terms of best strategies using their weaknesses, so both the lower level and high level are going to be similar in the aspect that actually they're both weak to melee and they're both weak to particularly crush style weapons. So that's talking about your mauls, certain two-handed can do crush rather than slash style, so I would really recommend going with that. Now the beauty of it is, as they're quite enclosed, especially the corpse spiders, will enable you to use the multiple hitting abilities through the evolution of combat. So for melee, that is obviously like your Quake style attack and also Hurricane style attack, and I believe, I always forget what it's called, I think it's Cleave. There is a sort of strength styled ability that enables you to hit several enemies if they're kind of close together. Now literally what you want to do is obviously just keep being prepared to take one spider out of the other using the multiple hitting abilities. Another little thing you can do is once you got to 100% adrenaline, you can obviously use the Berserk ability, which will give you double the amount of damage, but will also double the damage that you take. But even against the jungle spiders, they don't actually inflict that real sort of high amount of damage that you'll be able to kind of sacrifice a bit of health or speed. So you'll find for both, using this strategy for both the corpse spiders and jungle spiders will speed it up tremendously. The only annoying thing, obviously, like I said, is on Hazelmere's Island, the jungle spiders don't actually appear on a mini-map, so while you're fighting one, you kind of want to be ready to go after another one and have it sort of right-click just to save you a little bit of time having to find each spider. Now for the recommended equipment, like I've said a couple of times throughout this video, is that both spiders that I'm recommending you go after are both weak to melee, particularly crush style attacks. So obviously the recommended equipment is going to be that of the melee variety, and I'll be showing you a mixture of crush style weapons. Now what I normally do in my videos is show 3 types of equipment setups: a low level, medium level and high level choice, and that obviously all depends on what your stats are and when you're particularly completing these Slayer assignments. Now these are only recommendations, so feel free to sort of alternate any of the particular equipment or weapons or items. Now if you do have any top tips for anyone who is completing this Slayer assignment, you can also leave them in the comment section below and I'll be sure to highlight them. But yeah, obviously choose whatever equipment setup is best for you. Now in terms of getting the Slayer's Soul, now the likelihood of getting a Slayer's Soul is affected by a few factors. So every kill has a chance of trapping the Slayer's Soul. Now this is affected by your base Slayer level compared to the creature's required Slayer level to kill. So obviously the higher Slayer level you are, the more chance you have of capturing that Slayer monster's soul. So if a Slayer monster only requires level 1 Slayer to fight them, therefore no Slayer requirement, the higher Slayer level you are, you're going to find capturing it quite easy, where if a Slayer monster has a Slayer level of 99, that monster is going to have a lot less chance of dropping the soul in comparison. Now also, being assigned a particular Slayer monster as an assignment will double the chance of obtaining the soul compared to fighting one unassigned, so it is worthwhile trying to get assigned one as a task if you're purposely going after a particular Slayer monster's soul. Now also, being level 120 Slayer further doubles your chance of obtaining a Slayer monster's soul. Just obviously make sure you've got your Ujabdi with you in your inventory so you're able to capture the monster's soul successfully.
So I wanted to quickly talk about Social Slayer for those of you who don't know what that is. So Social Slayer is basically just like a normal Slayer assignment, however you can do it with a friend. So obviously I've been doing that myself with my good friend Thomas, aka Rune Movies, aka Mario Sonic, as we're both going about to obtain all the souls for our Slayer dungeon. Now how you go about doing this is with either your Slayer gem, or if you have a Slayer helmet, if you right click that item you can choose the option co-op options, and then can invite your friend to join a Slayer party with you. Do note though that once you're in a Slayer party, if you sort of go too far apart from each other or one of you logs out, you will exit the Slayer party and will have to rejoin, so just do take note of that. But basically you'll then, if one of you asks for a Slayer assignment from your respective Slayer master, you'll both share that assignment between the two of you, which is quite handy because some of you will be able to influence what assignments you get. Now obviously the only disadvantage is obviously there'll be less kills between the two of you, you. So for example, if Chirel assigns you 50, best case scenario is you'll have 25 each. But obviously the perks of it is that you'll complete the assignment quicker, which will mean you'll get more Slayer assignment points, but you'll also collect what's known as Slayer co-op points, which can be used for additional rewards. Now, being in a co-op party doesn't affect the chance of getting a soul, so you're not going to be at a disadvantage of doing it. So if you and a friend are both trying to obtain all of your 151 souls, I would recommend doing this as it makes it a little bit more fun. And the rewards you can get from the co-op points are quite good. You have the ability to use food on your partner, you can both share the same protective equipment, there's all different varieties of things you can use, so it is definitely recommended if you're up for that sort of thing.
So, in terms of key drops to collect, obviously I'll talk about the key drops for both the corpse spiders and the jungle spiders. So, for the corpse spiders, the handy thing about them is they're 100% drops. They do drop spider silk, which is worth a couple of hundred coins on the GE. So, if you're a low level player starting out, that's probably a good thing to collect. Other items they drop staffs, short bows and leather, which again is all worth a fair amount on the Grand Exchange. In terms of stackable items, they drop a variety of runes, which again is always worth collecting, and obviously they drop a variety of coins as well. They do actually drop some catacomb related items, which are mask parts, and these all make up the mask of Drageth Nern, so again you can obviously collect those if you're after them. And in terms of experience, they will grant you 6.6 Slayer experience for each corpse spider you kill. Now for jungle spiders, a little bit better in terms of drops, so they will always drop a spider carcass, and they are worth over 1,000 coins on the Grand Exchange each, so those are worth collecting definitely. And again, they will then also drop a variety of grimy herbs, obviously anything from Aventoe all the way up to Lanterdime, and again the value for the herbs obviously differs. The only ones that aren't really worth collecting are Guam, Orental and Taramin, unless you're planning on doing any herb lore. They also drop steel bolts, which are stackable, so they're worth collecting as well. And in terms of experience, they'll give you 87 Slayer experience per kill. So everyone, that's my guide on the Spiders Slayer assignments. Now, I know not many of you will be watching this guide due to Spiders being quite a low level Slayer assignment. However,
I do wish to complete a guide for every single possible Slayer assignment, and obviously those of you who are just starting off may find it worthwhile to watch. So myself and Thomas will be planning to make a guide on every single one of the Slayer monsters that can be assigned as a task, and also every monster that can have its soul obtained, as we're both trying to go for 151 in our codex. So obviously there will be a lot higher level Slayer monsters and higher level guides to come as we start get going, but we're just beginning with the low level ones. But if you are looking for more guides, just keep an eye out on my Slayer playlist, which these videos are added to, and more will be coming out as the coming weeks go by. But thank you very much for watching today. Please make sure you like, favourite, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends. Thanks everyone, and happy slaying.